The next big shifts 2025-2030. Consumers, businesses, AI, and SaaS monetization. Strategic summary: businesses worldwide are bracing for a convergence of transformative trends by 2030. Consumer behavior is evolving in paradoxical ways. Shoppers demand more personalization, digital convenience, and sustainability, even as economic pressures make them more value conscious. At the same time, companies' spending patterns are shifting. CFOs plan to boost investment in technology, especially AI and cloud, to drive efficiency and growth, while scrutinizing ROI amid higher costs and interest rates. A new wave of AI-driven transformation promises massive productivity gains. Up to 30% of work hours could be automated by 2030 in economies like the US. Yet most firms are still early in the adoption curve, with only 1% achieving full AI integration so far. Finally, the software industry is reinventing its monetization models. Traditional one-size-fits-all subscriptions are giving way to usage-based and outcome-based pricing, aligning revenue with actual customer value and usage. These four domains, consumer behavior, business spending, AI transformation, and SaaS monetization, are highly interconnected. Together, they will reshape how companies craft strategy, go to market, GTM approaches, and product development in the medium term. Leaders face a dual mandate: adapt boldly to these shifts or risk being outpaced by more agile competitors. The following report details each trend, the driving forces behind it, and the implications for business strategy. Changing consumer behavior. Digital, demanding, and value-conscious consumer behavior in the coming years is defined by heightened expectations coupled with pragmatic restraint. On one hand, consumers have grown accustomed to seamless digital experiences, personalization, and near-instant service. By 2025, 75% of consumers expect brands to understand and anticipate their needs, reflecting the demand for personalized experiences. Shoppers are also more willing to explore alternatives. Brand loyalty has waned. Roughly half of consumers tried new brands during recent supply disruptions, and this openness has proved sticky. Even older generations, once considered steadfastly brand loyal, are now almost as likely as Gen Z to switch to lower-priced or alternative brands in search of value. Companies can no longer assume they'll own a customer by default. They must constantly re-earn loyalty through superior value or unique engagement. Value versus values. A consumer dilemma. Perhaps the biggest shift is the convergence of value and values in purchase decisions. Consumers claim to care about sustainability and social impact more than ever, and indeed, sales of products with sustainability claims have outpaced others in some markets. A 2023 Deloitte HBR study even argued that we are on the brink of a major shift, where sustainability becomes a baseline requirement for brands, not just a niche preference. In this view, truly sustainable brands will seize advantage over those with only superficial ESG claims. However, there is a counterpoint. Faced with inflation and economic stress, many consumers are making practical trade-offs that deprioritize sustainability. McKinsey found that in early 2024, fewer Gen Z and millennial shoppers cited sustainability as an important factor than a year prior, and willingness to pay a premium for green products dropped across categories. In other words, while consumers expect brands to be responsible and may punish those seen as egregiously unsustainable, they are less willing to shoulder extra cost for sustainability in a tight economy. This tension means companies must embed sustainability into products to meet the baseline expectation without pricing themselves out of the market. As one expert puts it, sustainability is shifting from a nice to have to an expected norm, but price and value for money remain paramount. Digital and social natives. By 2030, the center of gravity of consumer demographics will be younger, urban, and digitally native. In emerging markets especially, 75% of consumers will be age 15-34 by 2030, and these young shoppers are optimistic and willing to spend on premium offerings. Globally, social media and e-commerce have deeply influenced how consumers discover and buy products. Social commerce, buying directly via social platforms or influencers, is taking off beyond China, expanding in regions like India and increasingly in the West. TikTok and Instagram drive trends and demand almost in real time, forcing brands to be nimble. Meanwhile, despite e-commerce growth, physical retail is not dead. There is a renewed appreciation for in person experiences for categories like luxury or experiential shopping. Shoppers now expect an omni channel approach, the convenience of online combined with the tangible service elements of offline. They also demand more control and privacy with their data. 2025 trends show rising use of privacy tools and a preference for brands that are transparent about data use. Implications for strategy and product development. Businesses must become hyper customer centric and agile in this environment. Strategically, this means investing in rich consumer insights and analytics. Companies with the most up to date understanding of who their customers are, what they want, and where, how they shop, will be best positioned to succeed. Go to market tactics should emphasize personalization at scale, leveraging first party data in a privacy compliant way, and community building to foster loyalty. Marketing messages need to balance values, brand purpose, sustainability efforts with clear value, quality, and affordability. On the product side, rapid iteration is key. Consumer facing businesses should use feedback loops, A B testing, and trend monitoring to tweak offerings in near real time. Trust and authenticity have become critical. Brands can differentiate by being transparent, for instance, about sourcing or pricing, and by engaging customers on social issues carefully to avoid perceptions of insincerity. In summary, the next big shift in consumer behavior compels companies to deliver more experience, purpose, personalization with less friction, delay, and even less money. Those that do so will capture the wallets of a generation that is both idealistic and budget conscious. Evolving business spending, strategic investment. Under constraint in the corporate world, spending priorities between now and 2030 are undergoing a major realignment. After a decade of growth at all costs in the 2010s, companies in the mid 2020s are far more cost conscious, yet they recognize that cutting innovation is not an option. The result is a focus on spending smarter, not just spending less. Businesses are reallocating budgets toward technology and transformation initiatives that promise efficiency gains or new revenue streams, while scrutinizing other expenses. A clear sign of this shift, despite recession fears and higher capital costs, 77% of CFOs plan to increase technology spending in 2025, with nearly half of finance leaders expecting to boost tech budgets by 10% or more. This reflects an understanding that digital transformation is a non negotiable priority. Investments are flowing into automation, AI driven analytics, and cloud infrastructure to improve operational efficiency and scalability. Cloud and SaaS adoption have already changed the nature of IT spending. 79% of IT spend is now operating expense rather than capital expenditure, as companies shift from buying hardware upfront to paying for on demand resources. This OPEX model, accelerated by ubiquitous cloud services, gives firms more flexibility but also requires new discipline. Enter the rise of FinOps practices to manage and optimize cloud usage costs. At the same time, business leaders remain vigilant about ROI. One reason, over the past decade, tech spending didn't always translate to productivity gains as hoped. There is mounting pressure on CIOs and CFOs to ensure that each dollar spent on digital initiatives yields business value, especially in an environment of tight labor markets and inflation squeezing margins. We see a bit of a paradox. Executives are willing to spend on transformative tech, but only if it demonstrably moves the needle. This has led to more pilot projects and phased rollouts to prove value, and an aversion to big bang, long payback projects. Gartner notes that even in areas like AI, many companies remain in experimental stages. Nearly all firms are investing in AI, yet only 1% feel they have achieved true at scale value from it so far. Business spending is thus characterized by a portfolio approach. Fund a range of smaller bets, cloud apps, AI pilots, process automation, etc., rather than single massive capex projects, and double down on the winners. Another factor influencing corporate budgets is sustainability and risk management. Companies are increasingly directing funds toward ESG goals. For example, investments in clean energy, carbon reduction, or supply chain resilience. Harvard researchers found that nearly half of public U.S. companies are now engaged in climate related innovation, reflecting a pivot to view climate action as an opportunity for growth, not just a cost. Similarly, heightened cyber threats and data regulations, GDPR, etc., have made cybersecurity and compliance a must have spend. Global security spend is projected to jump 15% in 2025. These are essentially the new basics of business spending. You cannot cut corners on security or compliance without courting disaster, so budgets must accommodate them even when lean. Implications for strategy and GTM. For vendors and B2B service providers, the evolution of business spending means sales strategies should align with customers' desire for flexibility and clear value delivery. Many clients now prefer subscription or usage-based arrangements over large upfront commitments, as this turns capital expense into operational expense and lowers risk. Offering pay-as-you-go or modular service packages can therefore be a competitive advantage when selling to cost-conscious enterprises. In negotiations, expect CFOs to demand strong business cases, quantifiable efficiency gains, cost savings, or revenue uplift before signing off on deals. Providers that can tie their offering to a customer's key strategic initiatives, e.g., improving supply chain resilience, automating a manual process, reaching a sustainability target, will fare better. Internally, companies should bolster financial planning and analysis capabilities to continuously evaluate the ROI of initiatives. The use of agile budgeting, reallocating funds dynamically to high impact projects, will likely increase. We also see organizational adjustments, CIOs and CTOs working more closely with finance, hence the FinOps trend, to monitor cloud and SaaS spend in granular detail. For product development, the mandate is to build with ROI in mind. Features or products that clearly drive customer value or help customers save money will justify budget allocation, whereas nice-to-have innovations may struggle to get funded. In sum, the next big shift in business spending is a story of selective, strategic investment. Companies are willing to invest in the future, particularly in digital and AI capabilities, but they will do so in a manner that is flexible, OPEX over CAPEX, continuously justified by data, and aligned to pressing needs, efficiency, resiliency, and innovation. Vendors and partners must adapt to these buying patterns by being just as agile and value-focused in what they deliver. AI-driven transformation. Generative AI as a game changer, with caveats. Artificial intelligence is set to become a cornerstone of business transformation between now and 2030 in a way that parallels the internet revolution decades ago. The explosion of generative AI, models that can produce human-like text, code, images, and more, has dramatically expanded what tasks can be automated or augmented by machines. McKinsey estimates that by 2030, activities accounting for up to 30% of hours worked in the US economy could be automated, a trend accelerated by Gen AI. Rather than replacing all jobs, this suggests a significant portion of many roles will be taken over by AI, freeing humans to focus on higher-level work. In fields like software development, marketing content creation, customer service, and analytics, AI tools are already serving as co-pilots, e.g., writing code, generating campaign copy, answering routine customer queries. Gartner projects an aggressive shift to AI-powered processes. For instance, 80% of B2C firms may adopt AI-driven customer engagement channels by 2025, moving away from traditional call centers. Adoption versus integration, the long tail. A nearly universal majority of companies have started investing in AI, yet true transformation via AI is still rare. Survey data shows 92% of companies plan to boost AI investments in the next few years, but only 1% of leaders would call their organizations AI mature, meaning AI is fully integrated into daily workflows and decision-making. The big bottleneck appears to be organizational, not technical. Employees are eager to use AI tools. In fact, many already use them independently, while leadership and processes lag behind. This misalignment is a major point of debate. Some experts argue AI's impact will be limited unless companies reinvent their processes and upskill their people to work effectively with AI. Others point out that early adopters are already reaping benefits. Leading AI high performers are starting to pull ahead, much as early internet adopters did in the 2000s. In any case, the consensus is that AI's full potential, the multi-trillion-dollar productivity boosts envisioned, will take time to realize, likely measured in a decade or more. The medium term will be a transitional period. Businesses will experiment with AI in various domains, from automating back-office tasks to enhancing products with AI features, figure out what actually delivers value, and gradually scale up those successes. Opportunities and risks. The AI-driven transformation brings enormous opportunities to innovate business strategy and products. We will see more AI-first business models, services that could not exist without AI, and AI-enhanced products that deliver smarter outcomes. For example, A CRM software might include an AI assistant that identifies sales opportunities automatically, or an e commerce platform might use AI to generate and test marketing content on the fly. Internally, AI can help flatten hierarchies by empowering junior staff with decision support once reserved for experts. A dynamic Gartner calls the flattening effect of AI as knowledge becomes more democratized. Indeed, by mid decade, the majority of employees may be citizen developers or content creators using AI tools rather than passive users of analytics. However, this optimism is tempered by valid concerns. Data privacy, model bias, and the reliability of AI outputs are hotly debated. High profile instances of AI errors or ethical lapses have made the public and regulators cautious. We can expect more regulation around AI use, e.g., guidelines on transparency, restrictions on sensitive use cases, by 2030, which companies must proactively plan for. There is also a talent aspect, a surge in demand for AI skilled workers and leadership capable of guiding AI strategies, which currently outstrips supply. Implications for strategy, GTM, and product. Companies should treat AI not just as a technology project, but as a strategic transformation. At the strategy level, a key move is to invest in capability building, training employees at all levels to leverage AI tools, hiring or developing expert teams to deploy AI ethically and effectively, and fostering a culture that embraces data driven decision making. Many organizations are creating new roles, e.g., prompt engineers or AI model managers, and cross functional AI centers of excellence to accelerate learning. From a product development perspective, integrating AI features can be a market differentiator, but it must be done with clear customer benefits. Adding AI for the sake of hype can backfire. Instead, successful products will use AI to genuinely solve pain points, e.g., reducing time spent on a complex task by automating it. One notable shift is the need for continuous improvement. AI models can improve over time with more data, so products may evolve more dynamically post launch than traditional software. This requires ongoing monitoring of AI performance and possibly new pricing models. As discussed next, many AI features incur usage based costs. In terms of go to market, AI is becoming a selling point. Vendors can tailor marketing around AI capabilities, but they should also be prepared to answer tough questions about ROI and accountability. For instance, an enterprise software vendor might need to show how their AI feature directly saves a client money or improves accuracy to justify its cost. Moreover, AI allows for hyper personalized marketing. Companies themselves can use AI to target microsegments with customized messages or to power chatbots that engage customers 24/7. This can boost conversion and customer satisfaction if done well. On the flip side, if AI is misused, spammy outreach, or insensitive automated interactions, it can damage brand reputation. Therefore, human oversight and thoughtful design of AI driven customer interactions remain important. Overall, the next big shift with AI is that it will become ubiquitous yet largely behind the scenes. The expectation by 2030 is that AI will simply be woven into most products and processes, much like software and internet connectivity are today. Businesses that move boldly now, experimenting, learning, and scaling what works, stand to gain a competitive edge, whereas those adopting a wait and see approach might find themselves irreversibly behind. As one McKinsey report warns, in this era, the risk for leaders is not thinking too big, but rather too small in their AI ambitions. SaaS monetization models, the evolving economics of software. The final domain, SaaS, software as a service monetization, is undergoing a pivotal shift that mirrors changes in both customer expectations and technology economics. Traditionally, SaaS companies relied heavily on per seat subscription models, charging a fixed license fee per user per month. This model brought predictability, but could be misaligned with the value a customer actually received. As we approach 2025 and beyond, a more flexible paradigm is taking hold. Usage based and outcome based pricing are on the rise, often in combination with classic subscriptions. According to industry surveys, roughly 60% of SaaS companies now incorporate some form of usage based pricing, up from 45% just a couple years prior. Moreover, nearly 80% of providers expected to be experimenting with usage based models by the end of 2023. This marks a significant mindset change. Instead of selling software as an unlimited buffet, many SaaS firms are metering how much customers actually consume or achieve and pricing accordingly. Why the shift? Several forces are driving this trend. First, customers are demanding more flexibility and fairness in pricing. Especially as businesses tighten spending, they prefer to pay for what they use and avoid overpaying for unused capacity. Usage based pricing, UBP, aligns cost with value. If you use more, you pay more and presumably get more benefit. But if you use less, your bill stays low. This can lower the barrier to adoption. For example, a company might be more willing to try a new SaaS tool if the initial cost scales with usage rather than committing to a large number of seats up front. Second, the product led growth, PLG, go to market motion has encouraged UBP. PLG companies often rely on a land and expand approach, where getting users hooked on the product, sometimes via a free tier, precedes monetization. In this context, monetizing based on usage is seen as part of PLG. As customers derive more value and use the product more, their spending naturally grows. It creates an expansion revenue engine without traditional heavy sales pushes at every step. Another crucial factor is the increasing variable cost structure of delivering AI powered services. In classic software, serving one additional user costs almost nothing, zero marginal cost, which made flat subscription fees lucrative. But with cloud based AI, each action, every API call or model query can incur non trivial cost for the provider, compute, data, etc. As a 16Z observes, the marginal cost of an additional AI user or usage is not zero. Therefore, SaaS companies integrating AI are leaning into usage based models to protect their margins. Charging per use ensures the costs are covered and scales revenue with the intensity of usage. Additionally, AI is blurring the line between software and services. If an AI can deliver an outcome, like resolving a support ticket, that previously required human labor, some argue the pricing should be tied to that outcome rather than a per seat fee. For instance, if AI enables a customer to serve 1,000 more support tickets with the same human staff, a per seat model, charging per human agent, doesn't capture the value created. An outcome based model, charging perhaps per successful ticket resolution, might. We are seeing early examples of this. Some AI native SaaS firms offer pricing per conversation or per resolution in support rather than per user. Hybrid models and complexity. Importantly, the rise of usage based pricing doesn't mean subscriptions disappear altogether. Many successful companies adopt hybrid pricing, for example, a base platform fee or a limited number of user seats, plus usage fees for certain features or for consumption beyond a threshold. This gives predictability as well as flexibility. TechCrunch noted that companies often start by testing UBP on a small scale. Indeed, 15% of SaaS firms surveyed were actively testing usage pricing, and another 4% planning to, indicating a cautious adoption where UBP is added alongside existing models. The result is more complex pricing menus, multiple dimensions like users and usage, and perhaps tiered service levels. While complex, this can be advantageous if well managed, as it lets a vendor capture more revenue from high usage customers while still serving low usage ones cost effectively. The complexity also mirrors the broader maturation of SaaS. As software solves more complex, outcome oriented problems, pricing inevitably follows suit. Implications for SaaS companies and customers. For SaaS businesses, adapting monetization models is now a strategic imperative. This involves cross functional coordination. Product teams need to build usage tracking and maybe even billing infrastructure into the software. Finance teams must adjust revenue forecasting. Usage based revenue can be more variable month to month. And sales customer success teams need to learn new playbooks to pitch and upsell in a usage based world. Notably, some investors initially worry that UBP could make revenues less predictable, but over time, a broad customer base on usage pricing actually diversifies and stabilizes revenue, according to a 16Z analysis. SaaS firms thus need to educate stakeholders on new metrics like net dollar retention that usage models can enhance. From a go to market perspective, pricing flexibility can be a selling point. Sales can approach customers with a pay only for what you use value proposition, which is compelling in times of tight budgets. However, customers also crave predictability. One paradox of UBP is that while customers don't want to overpay for unused capacity, they also fear unexpectedly high bills in heavy use scenarios. Successful companies often address this by offering capacity planning tools or alerts and by setting pricing caps or custom enterprise agreements for their largest clients. In some cases, SaaS vendors combine models, e.g., An enterprise might choose between a flat annual license or a metered plan, whichever suits their procurement preferences. The key is flexibility and customer choice. For product development, monetization trends mean that usage data becomes extremely important. Products should be designed to demonstrate clear value so that usage correlates with outcomes. Additionally, enabling customers to self-serve and monitor their usage through dashboards, etc., can build trust. It shows transparency and helps users optimize their usage and thus spend. We're also likely to see more innovative revenue streams beyond pure software access. Many SaaS companies are adding complementary services like integrated payments, marketplaces, or fintech features that generate transaction revenue, sometimes called SaaS Plus models. This was presaged by OpenView's prediction to take the SaaS out of SaaS pricing, meaning revenue will come from diverse sources beyond subscriptions. In conclusion, the next big shift in SaaS monetization is a move towards aligning the cost to customers with the value they derive, enabled by granular data and AI capabilities. This shift will require experimentation and agility. Indeed, experts emphasize there is no one size fits all solution for pricing in this new landscape. Companies that find the right model can accelerate growth and customer satisfaction, while those that stick rigidly to old models may face churn or difficulty acquiring budget conscious customers. We can expect ongoing debate around pricing. For example, will usage based models completely dominate by 2030, or will subscriptions remain important? Current evidence suggests hybrids will persist, as each has merits. But undeniably, the power in the market is tilting toward customers, and they favor flexibility. SaaS providers must respond accordingly. Conclusion: Strategy for an interconnected future. The 2025-2030 horizon presents a business landscape in flux. Empowered yet fickle consumers, fiscally prudent yet tech-hungry enterprises, AI technologies that can revolutionize work, and evolving business models that challenge how value is charged for. These shifts do not occur in isolation. They influence one another in profound ways. For instance, changing consumer expectations, demand for AI-driven personalization or sustainability, prompt businesses to spend on the corresponding capabilities. Widespread AI adoption raises the bar for customer experiences and may force changes in workforce strategy. New pricing models in SaaS respond to both customer pushback on traditional licensing and the cost structures of AI-heavy services. For business leaders and entrepreneurs, the overarching mandate is adaptability. Strategies must be continually revisited as these trends play out. Companies should build feedback loops between the market and their strategy, consumer behavior insights informing product innovation, ROI analysis guiding investment and pricing decisions, and technological advances unlocking new strategic options. It will also be crucial to cultivate partnerships and ecosystem thinking, for example, collaborating with AI startups or cloud providers to accelerate transformation, or engaging customers as co-creators through beta programs, communities, to stay ahead of preference shifts. Crucially, leaders should prepare for contradictions and trade-offs inherent in these trends. There will be times when pursuing sustainability might seem at odds with offering the lowest price, or when investing in a cutting-edge AI project competes with short-term profit goals. The winners of the next decade will be those who can navigate these tensions, finding innovative solutions that deliver both efficiency and responsibility, both personalization and privacy, both growth and profitability. The medium-term future is not either or, it rewards both and thinking, backed by strategic agility. In summary, the next big shifts across consumers, business spending, AI, and SaaS signal a period of significant opportunity and upheaval. The businesses that reshape their strategies to align with these forces, embracing customer-centric innovation, prudent investment in technology, AI-enabled operations, and flexible monetization, will be poised to thrive in the new era. Those that resist change may survive for a time, but risk being left behind as the market rapidly evolves. As history has shown with past industrial shifts, adaptation is not just advantageous, it's imperative. The time to start repositioning for 2025-2030's realities is now, while these trends are still coalescing. Equipped with insights from leading research and thought leaders, decision makers can chart a bold course that turns these macro trends into concrete business success. Sources: Harvard Business Review, Deloitte Analysis on Sustainability and Consumer Demand, McKinsey Global Institute on Consumer Trends and Spending Habits, Shopify Enterprise Report on 2025 Consumer Behavior Trends, Harvard Business School, Working Knowledge, Insights on Climate-Focused Business Shifts, Gartner CFO Survey on 2025, Budget Priorities, via Tech Monitor, McKinsey Digital Research on Enterprise Tech Economics in an AI Era, McKinsey Super Agency Report on AI in the Workplace, Gartner and McKinsey Forecasts on AI Impact by 2030, Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z, Analysis on AI-Driven Pricing Model Shifts, OpenView Partners, State of Usage-Based Pricing, 2023, Data TechCrunch discussion on hybrid SaaS pricing models, additional insights from Gartner, BCG, and Deloitte on tech and market trends.